Hey everybody, welcome to another Unity game development video. Today I'll be showing off what I've been doing in my Unity FPS project. I've been working on it for a little bit, about a month. I'm still working on my Brain9 3D platformer project, but I thought I'd take a small break on working on something else. That's still definitely in production, and this is just something when I can't get super motivated about the other game. So both are still working, and I'm definitely going to work on Brain9 soon again, and my next video is going to be a Brain9 devlog. I'm not sure exactly what the topic is going to be about because I've worked on a few things in that game actually, so I'm definitely going to have to narrow it down, because if I just go in and start talking about everything that I've worked on, then it'll just be a clusterfuck of, gobbledygook talking about random garbage with no focus whatsoever. So I'll have to get a very loose script going on for that. As you can see, I've got a kind of first-person shooter prototype going on here. I've got some very simple Blender models that I put together. I have an SMG and I have a shotgun, and I have kind of a simple firing system going on here. I'm not going to go into the code too much. I'll kind of give you kind of a generalized outline of it as I talk about the different variables in the inspector, and I'll briefly go into Visual Studio and talk about how a few of those things work, but I'm not going to explain it line by line because there's a lot of complicated things going on here, and I've actually taken a break a few days in between and worked on a few things where I won't even be able to fully explain how things are working without stuttering and stopping and giving you lots of uhs, because I don't know, I haven't worked on them in a long time, and everything I've worked on in the code I figured out by myself. I didn't really look anything up, but I also didn't put any notation in there, so I would have to go back, study it for a bit, and look at it, because it's very much put together through trial and error, and I wouldn't know how to explain it without going in and studying it again. But right now, I think I will just explain what's going on the screen after I talk about each variable in the inspector. I'm going to turn off the maximize view. I'm going to select my weapon. I have an SMG right here, and here's a script. I have a weapon script. I can attach it to any other object, and it just needs two other objects in it. It has a firing point, which is right here, the fire point, and it has an ejection port. So those are basically transforms that are used to instantiate objects, and I'll get to those in a second. And right now I'm just going to go through the different variables. The current weapon state cycles between ready and reloading. Reloading when you're reloading, obviously, and ready when the weapon is ready to fire. The following bools are kind of set before runtime. They can change within the game. I guess I could add like a fire select button or something like that, but right now they're just here for before runtime to initialize the weapon. Is automatic sets the weapon to automatic or single fire. Burst makes the weapon burst fire. If burst and automatic are toggled, you could hold it and it would shoot the burst, wait for the burst interval, then shoot again without you having to pull a trigger. But if it's not automatic, you'd have to press it again. I guess I could demonstrate it. So right now we have automatic. Wow, those are shooting a lot faster than I think they're supposed to. No, it's just weird because of the aspect ratio of the shrunken screen. And we have burst fire. Oh, but I don't have a burst fire number. If I go to the bottom, burst fire num, I'll set that to 3, and the burst fire rate between each shot I'll put to 0.05. Let's see if that works. Yep, not shooting 3 shots. If I turn on automatic with that, I can fire and hold down the thing, and it'll just shoot the burst and then wait and then shoot it again, which will be easier to demonstrate if I increase the time between them. Fire rate, I'll set that to 2, and then I can shoot, and it'll keep doing that. But if I turn off the automatic, I'll have to press it every single time. Okay, and the action right here, that'll be best demonstrated on the shotgun. You can see it's toggled here. And you might be confused as to why the shotgun would have burst toggled. If I go onto it, the burst in here actually controls regular burst fire weapons and weapons that shoot more than once per trigger pool. So a shotgun falls in that category. It has all these pellets that come out. Different bullets are instantiated even though it only shot once. So it fits into the burst category specifically for this project. Obviously, I know that's not how it applies in real life, but bear with me. So if I go into the game and I shoot, oh, I forgot that it immediately sets the SMG to active since it's the first weapon in the weapon slot. So I could just easily get rid of this weird overlaying thing by pressing 1 and then 1 again. So I have my shotgun. I could shoot it. The spread's actually higher than it's supposed to be right now because what is it? The bullets themselves are physics objects that have collision, so they're actually hitting each other immediately as the gun is firing, right when they're instantiated in this one spot. So they're slamming into each other, and that's interesting. The what's it called? The display in the bottom left, the aspect ratio, actually seems to be affecting whether or not the bullets go through the objects or not. I'll have to look into that. Everything's very held together with tape and rubber bands and chewed gum, so I'm sure that I can fix that somehow. But as you can see, if I just reload so I get more ammo, you can see that the burst and the action bullets are on here. The action thing is just for shotguns and bolt action rifles. So if I shoot, you see that shell casing flies out. But if I shoot and I just hold the button, nothing's going to happen until I release it, and then the shell casing comes out. Same thing would happen for a bolt action rifle. So it kind of makes it more of a fun, dynamic way of how the weapon works. I could just keep shooting and it'll do it itself, but it's got that in there so that the longer or slower firing weight weapons feel more visceral and more interesting. The single loader function there, you can see I have 1 out of 9 shots left there, 9 shots on my reserve. With any other weapon, if I go to my SMG and I shoot, the only reason I have 100 bullets set there is because I was recording this earlier and it didn't work because of some recording issues, but that should be roughly, I don't know, 30. Let's see. SMG reserve ammo, where is it? 120 ammo capacity. Let's go with 35, and reserve ammo, let's do 35 times 4, so 140 shots. Okay, if I don't have single loader on, I'll shoot, and then I have 10 ammo left. If I reload, it'll reload the entire clip. If I have the single loader activated, I could empty my clip, or almost the whole thing, and if I press reload, it'll slowly add 1 at a time. And that's how it would kind of happen with a pump shotgun or a bolt action rifle as well. So that's just more options for weapons. It would also work for something like a revolver, I guess. Like a Magnum revolver, you could shoot and then pop open the side thing or the cylinder and slowly put in 1 bullet at a time. We have the projectile speed, how quickly the bullets travel in the actual game. So if I have my SMG here and I take the projectile speed and I put it down to 200, it should shoot a lot slower. Not much slower. Okay, I'll decrease it even more. Let's go with 50. See, it takes a long time for the bullets to reach that wall. I could almost walk as fast as my bullets. And you see the ricocheting there. The ricocheting that I have set up is actually very simple. I'm probably going to edit it in the future to use vectors and math and bullshit like that. But right now it's just a physics object that's being instantiated, force is being applied to it, and then when it hits the wall, it just has a physics material that has a very high bounciness value. So not much going on at all. I'm going to reset that projectile speed. Okay, 850 is good. I'm going to set it a little lower, actually, 600. The range determines how far the bullet goes before it deletes itself. Projectile is the actual bullet, that physics object that I showed you in the assets. And the rate of fire is how quickly it fires, obviously. I could decrease that quite a bit. Let's just make it much slower. Let's put, the higher the number here, the higher the value, the slower it fires. So I'll put 0.2 and we'll go back in. It should shoot a lot slower. Yeah, definitely a lot slower. And then I could make it something ridiculous, like I could go to fire rate. I could put 0.01 and it should empty the clip in like a quarter of a second or something like that. Yeah. And then let's just, for the sake of wackiness, put our ammo capacity much higher. Let's do 9999. Didn't mean to do my Hitler impression right there. And you can see my ammo reserve there is going down, and it's making a ridiculous amount of bullet casings. Okay. And obviously that's a bit silly. Put the ammo capacity back to 35 and the fire rate back to whatever it was. So I'll go back. There we go. And current ammo is how much ammo is currently in the magazine, and that's also displayed in the UI there. Weapon reserve ammo is how much ammo we have in our reserve that we can use to reload our weapons. Using ejection port determines whether or not the weapon will actually use the ejection port. So if I turn that off, it won't instantiate any casings, as you can see. Oh, the fire rate needs to be decreased again. I don't remember what I had it to before. I'm going to go 0.8. That sounds about right. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm going to make it a little faster, actually. 0.65. The reload key, reload time, how long it takes to reload. Let's see, there's the actual ejection port transform. The ejection force is how far the bullet casing is going. So if I put that up to like 10, it should go flying. So let's just shoot some. Well, I'll get up to the wall so it's easier to see. I mean, I don't know where they're flying to, but you can see them flying out really far. But let's reset that. Bloom up value and the accuracy. Everything here is the really interesting stuff that I'm getting to. This is the part that I was saying would be hard to describe and hard to explain if I went into the code to try and explain it, because I haven't worked on it in a while, and it's very complicated. But the bloom up value, if I take this bloom curve right here, let's just say on the x-axis we have 0 here and we have 1 right here, so it's going between 0 and 1. This bloom up value, every time I shoot, it takes this value, 0.022, and it's added on to it on the x-axis. So if I shot enough to get here, if I shot 10 times, we'd be at, 0.22, and that would be roughly between 0 and 0.5, roughly around here, and then we go up and meet the graph, and we find this value here, roughly between 0 and 0.5 again, and we multiply that by the max accuracy here by 0.24. And basically that's how we're finding the range in which the function is going to randomly generate a number to determine the hipfire accuracy, that kind of spread. So basically it's randomly generating a number between 0 and the max accuracy, or the calculated accuracy based on this graph and the max accuracy. So 1 here is the very max, multiplied by the max accuracy is 0.24. So the least accurate the weapon it can get is a value between 0 and 0.24, and that's basically determining the angles in which the bullets will be shooting. I'll go in that in the code and explain that a little bit more in a second, but I'll try and bear with me because I don't remember much, and I'll try the best I can. Let's see. Firing point is the transform in which the weapon is firing, so it's going forward. I might edit it later to add multiple firing points if there's a double barrel weapon. I don't know if that's necessary, but it sounds fun, so I might do that later. Firing is just a bullet that determines whether or not the weapon is firing. It's mostly useful for debugging and also for if it's a burst fire weapon, you don't want to be able to start another burst while you're already doing a burst fire. So I can shoot and then I shouldn't be able to press the fire and burst again in the middle of the burst fire. ADS is yet to be implemented. I'm going to add ADS into the game because I think it's a fun mechanic depending on the game. I don't like it in Halo. Call me a hypocrite, whatever, but I think that it's very fun in games like Call of Duty. Burst control here is important, and you saw it earlier. If I go to the shotgun, the burst number is how many shots are being shot out of the shotgun at once. And the burst fire rate is the spacing between each burst. So in something like a shotgun, the burst fire rate is actually determining the fire rate of the shotgun. In something like a burst fire rifle, the burst fire rate is how quickly you can shoot each burst, and the regular fire rate determines the spacing between each of the shots in the burst. Burst fire time is really a variable that might as well be private, shouldn't be public. It's just kind of helping to determine when the burst fire is ready. Weapon switch time has yet to be implemented as well. This will be a variable attached to each weapon. They'll kind of be added together. There'll be a switch in and switch out time. So when you switch out of weapon, it goes through that time amount. Like if you had an LMG, it takes a really long time to put away. But as soon as you put away the LMG, your secondary weapon is an SMG, so it pulls it out really quickly. So those things kind of compound onto each other. An LMG would take a really long time to put away. If you have a second LMG, it would take a really long time to take out. So if you have two pistols, you can switch between them really fast. And I think that adds kind of an interesting dynamic between whether or not someone would choose to bring two kind of primary weapons or two secondary weapons, which definitely is something I'm planning on allowing. I don't understand why or games don't allow you to bring two pistols instead of a primary weapon. You should be able to pick whatever the hell you want, and there should be downsides and upsides to whatever you do. I might not even make it like a perk or an option to like take a second primary weapon. It might just be by default and you just run slower or something like that. There's just has to be give and takes for things like that. Another important thing that I forgot to mention, and as I'm saying I forgot to mention it, I'm forgetting what I forgot to mention, so I might just ignore that. What was I gonna say? I really don't remember. My dog Sunday is barking in the background and she's being very annoying. She just wants to be pet, but I can't pet her right now. I'm making a video. I'm sorry, Sunday. And that's about it for now. I'm going to go into the code itself and try and discuss that the best I can. If I go to the top of the script, basically what we're doing is we're running these three functions here, shot bloom and weapon input, or these two functions. Ammo is kind of a weird fake thing that doesn't actually do anything. It just makes sure your current ammo never goes below 0, and it handles some of the fire time and those things. I'll probably end up renaming this since it's so miscellaneous. It definitely doesn't just handle ammo, so it's strange. It primarily doesn't handle ammo, and it's not even really a full function, so it's odd that I haven't named that, but I'll get around to that. Mostly ammo stuff is being run in the actual input and firing functions. So basically, since we have other subfunctions here, we have fire weapon and eject casing. Those are basically being ran in the input function. So when we get the input of the weapon, it runs the fire weapon script and then the eject casing afterwards. And all of that's basically running the code here. What I want to do is stray further away from, I don't know if I said this in the same video, this is like my third time trying to record this, but sorry if I'm repeating myself. I don't really want to go in line by line and explain how everything works. I know some people like that, but I think it's really boring. I like coding this stuff, but it's very exhausting trying to explain how it works, especially when it gets complicated. I'll probably end up putting a GitHub link. I don't know, I might put that in the description. If you're interested in that, ask me for it. But in the future, once these projects start becoming more complete, I'm going to start looking at the code a little less and less per video, because as these projects become closer to release quality, I'm not going to want to just basically have my whole project out there for people to steal. And I know it sounds silly to protect code for something this early, but I'm planning on putting a lot of work into this. So I don't know, I could go in and try and explain some things here. Let's see, where's not the reserve ammo, where is it? Here we go, the reload function. This is kind of interesting and hard to explain. This reserve ammo function is basically just finding out what the difference between your ammo capacity and your current ammo is, and it's getting that value. So the ammo capacity, let's say on our weapon right now, is 35. If we shoot 5 times, we only have 30 shots left, so it's finding out the difference, which is 5. And it's taking that from the reserve ammo and putting that into the clip. So the actual weapon, the actual ammo is being taken directly from the reserve ammo and being fed into the magazine. So there shouldn't be any issues with the game being confused as to whether or not you have reserve ammo or not. My throat's hurting a little bit after talking this long. This is the really kind of hard to explain stuff right here. This is what I was talking about, the accuracy and the hipfire accuracy, the spread and all that garbage. So I'll try. We have 2 magnitudes here, and they're floats. We are generating a random number and then subtracting 0.5 from it. And the reason we do that is when we generate a random float, it's going to be between 0 and 1. So we're subtracting 0.5 from it, so we get a value between negative 0.5 and positive 0.5. And we're multiplying that by the blue magnitude. So we're essentially getting half of the highest spread in either direction. And the reason for the multiple magnitudes is we have one in the horizontal and vertical axis, with the X and Z axes, I believe, for the actual transform of the object. And then we're getting a bloom vector, which is the forward vector of the fire point, and the right vector multiplied by magnitude A, and the up vector multiplied by magnitude B, divided by those 2 magnitudes plus 1. So we're getting the kind of average of that. And then we are adding a force in that direction, an impulse force. And as we're firing, we're interpolating along that curve and evaluating it. And that's how we're determining the angles for the randomized firing. And I'm very proud to have figured that out and done that. I didn't watch any videos, I didn't watch any tutorials. It was exhausting, and I basically already forgot how it works, so don't ask me. Just try and figure it out from the video or something. I can't figure it out. I could go back, I could study it for a while and figure it out, but I really don't want to. I'll probably have to at some point when I rework the game. But right now, I'm going to ignore that it exists and just be glad that it works. And that's about everything I have to talk about for the video. Hope you liked it. Hope you liked my little low poly Blender models that I made. And I will see you in the next video, which, unless I am a damn dirty liar, should be another Brain 9 devlog. In the future, I'm going to try and put a little bit more production quality into my videos, but that's something I've said before. I kind of want to do that because I know people like concise videos like that, but I also really like this informal kind of devlog where I just talk about what I'm working on. So I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with that. If you like the video, please like, subscribe, favorite if that's still a thing that YouTube does. Share it around if you think it's interesting. If you're watching this on Reddit or like Twitter or something, follow my YouTube, and vice versa. If you're watching this on YouTube, please follow my Twitter, which is lowresdev. I've also changed my YouTube account name. It used to be just my name, but with underscores. Turns out the algorithm really hates that for some reason. So I tried to look up my name before and none of my videos came up. I got rid of the underscores and now all of my videos come up. So it should be easier to find my videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. I've talked for way too long already. It's probably been 12 or 15 minutes. Thanks for watching. Bye.